right, now that we are rolling, we can finally talk about this damn good movie, in my opinion. Um, but before we start talking about it, before I hear your opinions on it, I just want to tell you why I chose this movie because it's not for reasons you probably think. It is the most horror adjacent movie that I could have picked, given what I know of what I know that you like. Because I know you like true crime, and I mean the first time I saw this movie in theaters, I thought my dad might love this movie. There's gonna be some things that he's not gonna like. That's my initial thoughts. And after watching it for a second time and a third time, I still have that thoughts of like, you know what, he might like this movie. He's gonna hate this certain aspect of it, but I think it's as close as to true crime in that realm. Um,
I think that's
so
fair.
th-
What aspect did you think I wouldn't like?
so
Without, without going too far and giving too much away already.
yeah. First of all, just want to say that we're talking about the movie Longlegs here, as you can see in the title. Um, Longlegs, directed by Oz Perkins, who most recently directed The Monkey, which is also a really good movie. But the aspect I think you did not like is the more so religious aspect, I guess, as vague as I can keep it. Um, because the thing about this movie, and this is what I told you from the beginning, is you cannot look up anything about Longlegs. You cannot look it up. You have to go in as
Right.
blind as possible because that's how I witnessed this movie, was knowing nothing about it other than a certain actor that's in it, which we'll get to. Uh, but yeah,
Okay. The religious aspect and it didn't bother me at all. I mean, I don't
okay.
care about what they put in the movie.
It, I
That's
mean, I
not
want I want
what.
to go into more detail about what I mean about religious aspect because it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll get there.
yeah. But
But
go ahead.
for me, the storyline's got to be somewhat relatable, right? It's also got to be believable, and that is driven by the actors. And by the way, Blair Underwood, I didn't know he was in it. Fucking love that guy. I think he's awesome.
That's Carter,
So great.
Agent Carter.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, so good, so good. Um, and then the lady playing
Ruth. Was her name Ruth?
no, oh my god, I
Harker.
just watched it.
Harker.
Yes, Parker,
Harker. H.
Harker,
Yeah,
Harker.
that's
Sorry,
okay. That's
yes.
okay.
Um, she was great too,
Yeah.
and drawing a
Okay.
blank on her name too. She was outstanding, I thought. So I thought they had the right people in the right main characters. She reminded me a lot of Deb from Dexter.
Okay.
That kind of detective where she's not afraid, but she really is. But
Yeah.
she's gonna you know try and bottle it up and be the brave person. But I thought, okay, so let's rewind to the beginning if you want. And let's go through
Oh
this.
well. So before we go through this movie, without because we're gonna be spoiling this movie. This movie came out last year. I forgot what I don't know what month, but it came out last year, 2020, or no, maybe it was 2023. No, it was 2024. I'm pretty sure it was last year. But I just want to know, what did you think of the movie before we get into spoilers? Was it good, bad, disappointing, surprisingly good?
No, it was surprisingly good.
Okay, okay.
I enjoy
I was
I
worried.
did enjoy it. I did enjoy it.
Okay,
Like I said, especially when it comes to crime movies, I don't want to see a detective who's like, "Oh, well, I know why that happened, and here's why," and "Oh, I know this and I know that," and they know everything, and you're like, "Well, hold on how do you know all this? Like, this is just not believable." Where, um, Harker in this movie, she's at least trying to learn what's going on, and you can see that, and she's putting the work in and putting the effort in. You're like, okay, she's onto something here. But you know, you can see again. We go back to the beginning before I go any further on that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. Let's just get into it. Let's just you
the
want to
issue,
get
the
it.
only issue, well, first of all, I don't see it as a horror movie. I didn't see anything. I mean, it was a little gory, maybe, but other than
Oh,
that,
there's some horror aspects. I don't know if you picked up on it. And we'll get into it, but there's
okay.
a lot of scenes with Satan in the background. And I did notice that the first time I watched it.
Hmm.
But the first time that I noticed it, the second time around, was um, when she is looking at the case files, the pictures, and everything in that one room where Carter finds her asleep. She's looking at all these pictures, and behind her, because it's a big like shot, just a stagnant shot on her, and behind her, like in like the back, like left side of her or right side, is a shrouded figure with horns, and it's supposedly Satan in that scene behind her. I don't know if you noticed it. Um,
I didn't. I didn't.
okay, and it's little aspects like that that really creeped me out, especially the second time. And I was like, oh, that's creepy. It gives me goosebumps even thinking about it. Um,
Hmm.
and it's like sprinkled in throughout this movie of this shrouded figure with horns just in the background. There's even a scene towards the end when a door gets closed and you see the reflection like for a split second, and it's that shrouded figure. And yeah, that's what honestly creeps me out the most about this movie, watching
Oh,
it a second time. But I think I'm getting a little ahead
interesting.
of ourselves. But anyways,
Yeah. I just didn't find anything like, oh my gosh, about it. Like I just thought,
yeah,
oh,
it was there was when they were explaining, or the mom is explaining, doing the voiceover of whatever everything that's happening
yeah,
towards the end of the movie, when you see Child Harker on the bed, and it's that same figure that shows up behind her, that is sprinkled throughout the movie.
yeah.
But
Is that
anyways,
horror? Is that what horror is? Because that's
no,
what it is. It's
no.
weak.
I mean, in my definition, horror is a outside force that is very uncontrollable. That when you are up against that outside force, there is no chance that you're going to survive. No chance that anybody's going to survive. Um, and in this case, that is the devil. Of there's no chance that you're going to be stopping the devil anytime soon or anytime at all. Uh,
Right.
you know, the devil's going to do what the devil's got to do, and in that sense, that's what makes this movie horror, in my opinion.
And I think the way they left it at the end it opens it up for another movie. Otherwise, if they're not going to do another one, then I think that they did the wrong thing at the end. And I'll tell you later
Yeah, yeah,
once
yeah,
we
yeah,
get
yeah.
into
Let's
what.
start from the beginning. Let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we get a little ahead of ourselves, because I feel like there's a lot that we want to talk about. But so this movie starts off with this house. We see this house. The aspect ratio of the screen is like a Polaroid picture, and I don't know the exact aspect ratio of a fucking Polaroid, but uh, it's this little girl walking out in the snow. She sees this car, and we see a little figure in the car. You know, we're not really sure if it's somebody or something or what it is. Then all of a sudden, we hear someone say "cuckoo," and we're like, "What the hell?" She turns around. Uh, Very good sound design, very good editing as well in this scene of and of Longlegs, because that's who is saying cuckoo and getting the attention of this little girl, and somehow in some way he knows it's almost her birthday because it's the day before this little girl's birthday, and somehow he knows. He's like, oh, it's the almost birthday girl, and kind of doing this little like creepy spiel, and you're just like, what the fuck's going on here? And then boom, shows his face, and then title card, long legs, and then we get T-Rex. I don't remember what. Do you remember what song was playing?
I don't.
Yeah, we get T-Rex playing, uh, opening credits, and we get Harker, who is the little girl we see in the beginning, in a room full of other FBI agents, getting a debrief of the Longlegs case. No, was it the Longlegs case? No, it was a
Well,
different case.
yeah, it was a different case. Years later, obviously, right? It was the opening scene was kind of a flashback, which you didn't know at the time.
Correct.
But it was a flashback, and then after the opening credits, yeah, you go to the FBI room and they're talking about being safe out there as we look for somebody who's on the wanted list, and they're trying to, you know, go house to house and find out who this person is for these crimes. And it's not really, you know, a major part of the story, but it's just a way to introduce you to Harker here and who she is now,
Yeah.
right? Um, you know, so yeah, so then her and her buddy go
Which
to this neighborhood.
he kind of has some. He's giving her weird looks, like he's kind of like into her maybe, or kind of whatever. And she's just not. I don't know. I feel like Harker's like got the tism or something. This whole movie, I think she's got a little bit of the tism going on.
Well, I think he realizes that there's something off about her, which is kind of the why he's looking at her a certain way, you know?
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he got that kind of vibe from her, you know, and yeah, so they pull into the neighborhood because they're looking for this
A suspect.
suspect, right?
Yeah.
And she has this feeling, premonition, whatever you want to call it, uh, that he's in a certain house. And her partner makes a tremendous decision for his future to say that
Really,
he'll go knock on the door.
really thought with his head.
Yeah, yeah. So he goes to go knock on the door and go ahead.
Knocks on the door. Says, "Hey, want to tell you all about God." Bam! Right in the face. You know, not talking about God, but just making a joke there. But yeah, the suspect shoots him in the face. Then Harker just total like almost shuts down a little bit. And again, the editing, the sound design, the camera angles is just like right when it happens, you get the immediate reaction of her. She's like, "Oh, okay, all right." You see her processing it. An amazing job with the actress as well. And then she instantly goes into the house, gun drawn, and the place is decorated like a Dexter kill room, you know. And she gets the guy, and brings him in. We don't really see him brought in. We don't really see backup. It immediately goes to her in this room where they're doing these like almost like ink blot tests in a way of like they show fast images and then basically tell her, hey, just tell us first thing that comes to mind when you see these images. um,
Yeah,
and this
it's like
is
a psych test for the FBI agents.
a psychic test.
Yeah, psych, like a
Oh, psych test, psych
because
test.
at the when you're in the when you're CIA, FBI, whatever it is, and you are in the presence of a scene where your partner gets shot in the face and is murdered, they had to give you a psych evaluation.
Oh,
So this is part of that,
okay.
where they're trying to, you know, see how your mind thinks now and how you respond to certain things, and if it's messed with your head and if you're going to go off the deep end, then they can evaluate from your answers. Yeah, this person they just witnessed that and they're probably going to go shoot themselves or shoot somebody else or just have a nervous breakdown and they'll probably take your gun away, whatever it is. So it's kind of a psych evaluation test right there.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah.
had no idea. I was
Yeah.
like, this is just weird. And then because the next thing we see is her in a car with Carter and another agent, which I forget the name of, and they're kind of going about how she might be psychic, or was I?
Well, they're asking how she was able to guess certain numbers. You know, she got it right 50% of the time, but she made the point of saying, "Well, I got it wrong 50% of the time."
Yeah.
So, Um, but uh, I think it was the next scene where a guy said, you knew what house it was. Is that something that has happened? Is that something that you do often? It's like only a few times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's alluding to right there, but going back to the car situation there, where they start talking about what happened in the house that they're looking at,
Yes. What was it?
and that's when you introduce first time, right, to this whole murder spree that's going on with
Long
long legs,
legs. Long legs.
right?
Yes. Yes. And
So
the thing is I don't even remember the psychic stuff showing up later in the movie. Like it doesn't really play a part to anything other than it's
well, it's
just
not psychic. It's not psychic. It's psych evaluation. Psychology is
no,
is.
not that, not that. It's the line that he says in the car of like, "Hey,
Oh,
like you're half psychic," you
right,
know?
right, right, right.
And that never plays a part later on in the movie. I thought like,
Well, it does actually.
maybe I missed something. Maybe I after
Yeah.
watching this movie two times, paying attention to Satan in the background, I just completely forgot what movie I was watching. but
Right,
but yeah, so we get the rundown of what went on in the house that they are in front of in the car, and says that yeah, the husband stabbed his wife 60 something times, and the only reason he stopped stabbing her was because the handle broke off and the blade
right.
was just left in the wife, and then uh, he kills their kid and then kills himself. And they're like, we don't know how this happened. All we know is that there's a letter that was left titled Longlegs, and it's in this cryptic, satanic, kind of stuff. We don't know
Right.
what it means. All we know is
But
that there's this killer named Longlegs, and
but it's also the same thing that happened in 10 other similar
correct.
murders. So while it looks like a murder-suicide, they pretty much know it's not.
Yes,
That
yes,
it's somebody has staged it to make it look like a murder-suicide, and there's more to this than meets the eye, right?
correct.
So
And
that's the doom, doom, doom.
when you were watching it, were you hooked yet? Where you're like, oh, okay, interesting. Where is this going? Or were like, what was going through your mind when you got to the scene at this point?
Well, they're in the car, and I'm like, "Why are they there?" I mean, why do they park in front of the house, have this conversation, and then go, "Alright, we're out of here." Okay? I mean, there wasn't really any kinda,
Well, maybe it was just kind of like they were just kind of setting her up of like, hey, like this is one of the houses. This is what happened in this. This is the most recent thing that has happened in this case in this house.
yeah,
Because the next scene it's Carter introducing her to the case of
right,
like everything. And
right.
so I don't know, maybe it was
I
something
would
like
I
that.
would've liked to be more in the house, though.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
You
I
know,
I go
to
ahead.
drive up to outside of a murder scene and go, "Well, there's what happened, what I'm gonna tell you about later." It's like, okay. There's no real I don't get anything from just sitting outside the house. I mean, it's just a house, right?
It's very
Now if
true.
you bring me into the scene where there's probably still, you know, maybe somebody else has moved in there now and they can't, but then there's no point of being outside the house. I would've just skipped that scene and had him break it all down with pictures explaining the same thing he explained in the car because an external shot of the house that really didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's just build up to the finale. Because this whole movie we don't see any like of the scenes actually happening, like start to finish until the
Right.
finale. And so
Right.
maybe it's I feel like it was just a source of ambiguity to get, you know, doesn't want to reveal too much um to the people, I guess, to the viewers.
Sure.
But yeah.
Well, the one thing I liked about this movie was I thought was written real well. I thought it was, like I said, great acting. It's just this is one of the little things that was kind of like, well, I mean, I get it. Yeah, the intimate setting of the car, something's happened in there. I get that, but at the end, saying if this is supposed to be a horror suspense movie, I kind of want more than just sitting in a car talking about it. But again, Blair Underwood did amazing and was just awesome explaining it, though. I will tell you that. You
Yes.
got
He's got the
the whole
voice.
act.
He's got the yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
yes. So,
Yeah, and especially when, because she's like, well, what were the wounds on the children? He's like, you could read about it.
yeah,
I
he
don't
didn't
want to
want to talk
explain that.
about it. Right.
Yeah. I was like, that I feel like that's what a father would react with, of like, I can't. I don't even want to think about that. Um,
He did.
but yeah, after this car scene, they go, we have Carter basically telling her, here are all the files, see what you come up with. Um, and that's when I noticed the first Satan sighting,
Mhm.
um, of, in the foreground, which, you know, I might put up pictures here and there just to show what I'm talking about, but yeah, this creeps me the hell out because I did not notice this the first time, and the second time I'm focused, looking around, seeing what's going on, and once I saw, I was like, oh Jesus, that's because when it comes to horror movies and it's things that are happening in the background that the main character can't see but the viewers can see, it creeps me out. Movies like uh, Strangers, um, uh, It, the first chapter one, It, 2017 with Bill Skarsgård. There's a scene in that movie where you have Ben, one of the kids in It. He's in the library and he's looking at this book, and all of a sudden you see this old lady librarian, focus, and she's just staring at him from like while his back is turned to her, staring at him and smiling. And it is one of the most creepy scenes in that movie that I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but it is things like that that creep me out the most. And
Hmm.
when I noticed that Satan figure in the background, I was like, oh man, I wonder how many other scenes that this figure is in the movie. And it's in a lot. It's in a lot of scenes. Some are very noticeable. Some are it's a blink and you miss it kind of thing. Um, but like once we get to the end and we discuss how the movie ends, I feel like it has more merit to it than a lot of people have discussed about this movie. But yeah, so as she's going through these files, these pictures of these Longlegs murders, uh, uh, that figure is just watching her going through this, like, all right, kind of just what you gonna find, and this is when she figures out that there has to be somebody else. Like there has to be a way that he gets into that house. There has to be a way that the homeowners allow somebody in. Like there has to be something. There has to be something. And um, I don't think this is the point where she figures out that there's an accomplice. Um,
Right. She just
it's
knows there's more to it.
Yes, she knows that there's more
Doesn't
to it.
know how,
Yeah,
doesn't know if it's a person, doesn't know what. Just there is no evidence of anybody else in the house.
yeah, yeah.
So how is this happening?
Correct, correct. And this is when I think Carter invites her over for dinner a little after.
Mhm.
And dude, when we got introduced to Carter's family, after hearing about what happened to all these other families, I'm like, all right, when is his time gonna be? I was like, this family's gone. This family's gonna get involved in this somehow. Um,
Yeah.
I was like, it's like, oh yeah, this is my last day of retirement at the beginning of a movie. It's like, of course something's gonna happen to this guy. And
Sure.
and so right when I got introduced to the family, I was like, they're done. There's no way they're making it unscathed after this movie.
Yeah.
And this is when we get introduced to the little girl. And
And you could tell right away that Harker was triggered by something. She as soon as she met the little girl, she was like, there was as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, there's some childhood trauma there that's just getting triggered. Something's happened right there that has made her just freak out, and she does not want to be there right now. And I wasn't putting two and two together just yet. So I was like, holy shit. There's
yeah,
something there that she's like doesn't want to be around kids, or just has this thing with little girls. I don't know what it is, but it's just you could tell that there's just something
yes,
just got triggered, and she was just gone.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And this is when we also find out that they have like the same birthday, not like the same
Right,
date, but the same like
right,
day, um,
yeah,
same numbered day,
right.
which
Which
is
has already been discussed. 14th, right?
yeah, it was the 14th. And yeah, and then yeah, I agree with you. At first, when I saw this movie, I just thought it was a neurodivergent, is what the kids are calling it now, uh, person. I thought Harker was just a neurodivergent person. I thought it was like, okay, I guess this movie's about an autistic FBI agent. I was very ignorant when I was watching this movie at first. I'm like, I have no idea, but that's just how I'm taking it. Um,
But that's why I was really liking it, is because, like, I could tell something was up, but I couldn't tell what. Well, it wasn't
yeah,
obvious, at least to me, because, there's movies you watch and you'll go, "Oh, this is obvious that's gonna happen," you
yeah,
know? And, of course, you saw the little girl, it's like, "Okay, 2 and 2 together, you had little girls, what might happen?" But at that point, you're like, "Why is she so awkward now all of a sudden?"
yeah,
What is the discomfort, you know?
yeah.
So I was that this helped pull me in a little bit more.
Interesting, interesting. I'm very. First of all, did you watch the opening credits?
No, because, as I mentioned, I tried to watch this earlier today, and in my office, it's too bright in the darkness of the screen. It's not, so I had to rewatch it again as I'm working out. And you told me not to watch, so I didn't. So I'm
Okay,
working out. I made sure I turned my back when I was watching that part, or when that part came on, so I didn't see whatever it was. I just know it was red, and so I'm like, okay, as soon as the red's gone, I'm not going to watch it. I can watch it again.
okay,
Um, so no,
okay, okay.
and I'll tell you what, I did figure something out, but it wasn't for a while.
I, I think I know what scene you're like.
And
Okay,
when we
this
get
has
there, you
got to
can
be him.
elaborate more. Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway, back,
yeah.
back to the
Before we get to that scene, yeah, yeah, yeah. So just looking
so
at
then
my
she's in the
notes.
little girl's room,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
and
yeah.
the girls.
And well, so I mean, it's not really important. It just kind of introduces the family. Um, I unless you
But
have certain
it
notes.
is important because she goes, "Can I invite her to my birthday party?" You know, and
That's
that's
true.
birthday parties, okay,
That's true.
because the 14th obviously a birthday, but a birthday party, okay, that plays in later, obviously. Um, and that's
It's
but
very
and
true.
then the mom says, "Hey, it's time for bed. Get out."
Yeah, get the fuck out. Love you 3000. Good night. Um, yeah. Okay. I completely forgot about that, and I've seen this movie like just twice this week.
Well, I
Um,
just saw it an hour ago, so it's fresh in this old
okay,
brain. I'll
okay,
forget about it
okay.
tomorrow. Don't worry.
Um, but no, after this, doesn't she just head home? And this scene is one of my favorites. Is when
Yeah,
she
she heads home to her log cabin or whatever it is,
yes,
and
and this is when she calls her mom, tells her mom, "Hey, this is what I'm working on." Kind of got a case going on, and then gets a knock on the door.
But before you go to the knock on the door and everything, once she got home, she called her mom. I'm like, "Oh, okay. So that's part of the trauma with the little girl at the house. She's got some mommy issues, I think."
Okay, definitely.
And that's why, as soon as she got home, she had the need to call her mom, who doesn't seem like it's a good relationship, because it's like, "Yeah, I'm still your only daughter," kind of thing. And, it's kinda like, that's kinda weird way to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Uh, but you can tell it's not your typical, mom-daughter
Hey,
conversation. "Hey,
how's it
mom,
going?
yeah, just,"
Yeah.
it was very, distant, but that's when I kinda like, "Okay, the mom's got some issues here." Did she get beat as a kid, or was there some abuse? Was there, there's something that attaches her and how she was discomfortable, the discomfort with her and Carter's kid.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then go on
So
from there.
so yeah, then after the phone call with her mom, gets a knock on the door as, she's still kind of going over these pictures and everything, these files,
Yeah,
and opens the door, nobody's there. But she sees a shadowy silhouette in the distance who
right.
looks like Longlegs, who we've seen in the beginning at this point, the very beginning, which was a flashback, and goes out with the gun looking for him, but then
Yeah,
looks back inside her cabin, which looks like a fishbowl because of how big the windows are in the middle of the forest, um, and sees someone inside there.
right.
Uh, we don't. Who do you? Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But someone, we see somebody in there, just quickly scuffling around. So she rushes back to the house. Nobody's in there, but a letter from Longlegs. And this is when we get some of the letters of decoded from what the satanic language that he was putting in the letters that he leaves at the crime scene for only lead it to find out because as she's decoding these cryptic letters, it basically tells her, you tell anybody that you got this letter, I'm gonna kill her. It's insinuating the mom, I'm assuming, correct? Or was
I don't know.
yeah.
When she first looked out and saw it, I thought it was a kid out in the forest.
Oh,
Um, that's what I thought. Um, and then yeah, when she saw somebody in the house, it did look like a man, so I figured that's long legs. And so she's, yeah, decoding the letter, and I think it's just the same kind of thing that I don't want to give away too much now, but I think that plays
fuck
into
it.
what we. Well, I think it's the same kind of thing that he told someone else, and he was leaving that same verbiage there, so she would know who it was,
Gotcha.
you know,
Yeah,
because she was present when he was saying that to someone else.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I get you.
I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe she wasn't present. But she finds out about it anyway. But
Yes.
I think it's just a way for him to leave the code so she can, you know, like any good serial killer, he eventually gets tired of doing all this stuff and trusts one person and one person only. And
Yeah.
kind of that's, I mean, the son of Sam, who's this, I mean, this is a real crime, right? Son of Sam. And he finally worked with one journalist and started letting him know about the codes and stuff like that. And, it's eventually how he got caught, right? So it's the same kind of idea here, I think. Son
Yeah.
of Sam giving away his codes and
Yeah. That's another aspect. Kind of gonna get a little off topic, but whatever. It's when I was watching it for the second time, thinking about things to talk about regarding this movie. Was there any real crime cases that you kept thinking of while you were watching this movie? I'm probably not going to know of any of the cases that you named because I'm not well versed in real crime, but you can kind of give me a rundown of what those cases are.
Yeah, I mean, with the symbols, son of Sam came to
Okay.
mind. I mean, that's the one thing that popped up, which is why I brought that up. But also looking at, I guess the makeup on Longlegs kind of reminds me of John Wayne Gacy. You know, he was a guy who was a clown and was killing kids and hiding them under his house. You know, but so I don't know if there's inspiration from both of those there for the character or not. Um, but yeah, I mean, if you look at, and I think that's why this was good because you mentioned it. You know, you figured I'd like this because it kind of tapped into true crime. Because up until we start getting to the later aspects of the power or whatever, this was definitely one of those you could feel like this could be a real thing. I mean, this
Yeah.
definitely, and that's why I got pulled into it. It's like, holy shit, like this is pretty interesting,
Yeah.
you know? And to know that there's crime scenes, you know, left there to be assumed murder suicides, but you know they're not, with no evidence of anybody else. You know, it was definitely very intriguing for any if that happened in real life would be a major crime to investigate and would get much publicity, you know? So this was like, holy shit, big deal.
Yeah. 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 And yeah, because I don't like the true crime stuff because I think it's way too real, and it just like pisses me off just thinking about it,
Yeah,
and I'm just like I can't. I'm just gonna get angry. I'm gonna I it's just gonna upset me. It's gonna ruin my day, and
yeah.
but but yeah, because I watched I watched Dahmer, the whole season of that, ruined my day, ruined my week. I couldn't. I was like, this is the fact that all this happened. Maybe a little bit over exaggerated because it's a TV show, but still, like these are events that happened,
Right.
and to real people, and it's just
Well, then
like,
I suggest you never watch the ID channel,
yeah, yeah,
which I
yeah.
love, by the way. I could watch that all day long, no problems.
As can my girlfriend. She falls asleep to it. It's
Oh, I
weird.
love it. It's great.
But yeah, and when it's in the medium of this is like a horror movie or a thriller, or I know it's not real,
Right.
that's when I can enjoy it, of like, okay, real people aren't getting hurt. It's like it's what's the word? It's very fictionalized, and especially later on into the movie, with the whole demon uh
Right.
possession bullshit that I'm guessing you don't like about it. You didn't really care for it. Um,
Well, I'll I'm okay with it, but again, we'll get to the end and how,
yeah,
you know, they could have wrapped it up better. But let's go back to she's in the house and she
yeah. She decodes
finds
the
the note,
message.
yes, but then she gets a phone call that she's got to go somewhere because there's a crime has happened, or that they've FBI is needed at a crime scene because it's multiple homicides, right? But
Yes,
it's another long legs, it seems.
yeah, and
So take us through it.
and she starts decoding the message instantly. Carter's like,
Right.
how the fuck do you know that? Like, what do you, you know?
Yeah.
And then she just pulls out this thing. Yeah, this is like, it's based off this satanic shit. Kind of just trying to bullshit her way through it. Um, and decodes these messages. And I forgot what did the message say? Do you remember?
No, but oh, it was like from a child's. It was more like a child saying,
Gotcha,
um,
gotcha. Which
but I forget what it
which
was.
Longlegs kind of talks like a child, and
Mhm.
once we get into the whole demon possession thing, I feel like a lot of that a lot of what Harker is what a lot of Longlegs was before the satanic shit. But anyways, I digress. Um, and so yeah, and then is this the part where no, she ends up going to um she ends up going to a library. Am I getting a little ahead of myself?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, after she goes to the crime scene, sees the maggot-ridden bodies in the bed. Uh,
Yeah, now here's another thing. So, this crime scene, everybody's in the bed except for the father who's in the garage, right? But he's cut himself to death with a note, and there's no other, people in the house or whatever. And it turns out this happened a month ago, right? It's the last time they were seen. They're supposed to go on vacation to California. And this was the first time I really thought, oh, I wonder where this is actually happening. Because I just took it for granted that it's LA since we're out here. Everything happens in LA unless stated otherwise.
yeah,
Uh, so that was interesting. But then the last shot before they go to her at the library is a cat or some feral thing in a cage. I'm like, well, how has this thing survived for a whole month?
it's very true.
Very true. You know? And so I'm like, has somebody come back to the house and fed that cat?
It's a very good point.
Or very good point. Is this cat possessed? I'm trying to figure that out. But how is it still alive after a month in a cage?
It's a cat. I don't know.
I guess it's only died 8 times,
Yeah, I
so,
don't, yeah, it's because how I wonder how long cats can go without eating. Um,
oh, not long. I mean, there's stories of, when an owner there's there's been stories when owners have passed away in their homes and nobody knows and they have cats or dogs. Well, the animals, when they run out of food, they won't touch the owner for a few days, but then they do, and because they have nothing else,
yeah,
and they'll end up eating the owner who's now dead on the floor or in their bed or whatever it may be.
good source of
Um,
protein.
but yeah, but that's the thing though. It's like so that's the case after just 4 or 5 days. I don't see how that can be for a month.
Interesting. It's a very good point. And the cat, well, the cat hissed at Harker,
Right.
which could mean something, I guess. I
And
don't know.
well, I think that's the cat was possessed with the spirit of Longlegs.
Oh, the spirit from the doll, which leads us into our next point. Um,
Yes.
also the library scene. This is where
Yes.
you also see that shrouded figure again as well, and there's some other scenes before, but I remember this one because it very much hung on this demon, and it was outside of the library looking in, and this is when I was like, oh, I feel like this shrouded figure that's in this movie, this personification of Satan, is us. We're the ones that are just looking in, just watching this happen, and getting a sense of enjoyment from it. Um, because if we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't keep watching it, and we wouldn't have made this episode. Uh, and I feel like it's a very interesting aspect to the movie of like of this is like the second movie I've seen where the in my opinion the viewers are personified in a satanic way because we're always just we want more, it's always greed, gluttony, we want the good stuff, we want this, and if you don't give it to us, we're gonna get mad. If you don't give it to us the way we want it, you're gonna piss us off, and without us you're not gonna you wouldn't be making the money, you wouldn't be doing all this, and I don't know, I don't do you kind of understand what I'm saying? Am I speaking nonsense?
Yeah, I think you are. No, I mean, you making a good point of what you got from that, but
Yeah.
I didn't get that. I just
Well, because
think
you
that's
didn't really notice the demon in all these
well,
scenes.
no, I just think it's more like he's always around because if he did say later in a different scene where he may be there, but he's also everywhere.
Yeah,
And I
it's
think
true.
that's the demon is that evil is everywhere, no matter where you go, no matter where you are, no matter what, who
Yeah,
you're with, it follows you,
yeah,
and
100%.
that's what I got from it.
Yeah, but I think that's the just slap it on a piece of paper. That's what it is. Kind of explanation.
Mhm.
I don't know. I just wanted to kind of like think about it a little bit more. Of like, yeah, he's always there, but it's just kind of lame to think about. Oh, yeah, he's always there, especially when a lot of stuff in this movie is very ambiguous, very open to interpretation, um,
Mhm.
especially the ending, and it's more of those little aspects, those little key details of like what do they mean by this? What is the real meaning behind this? In the movie, sure, it's Satan, but when you take a deeper dive, take a deeper look into those little aspects, what does it mean as a story aspect when you're trying to interpret this piece of media? If that makes sense. Um,
Sure.
but but yeah, maybe I'm just overthinking
No,
it.
but then after the library,
What's next?
what's next? Tell me.
Don't they figure out? Oh, they figure out like X marks the spot or something, and so they go to this barn where the camera family was murdered or something, and
Right.
they follow these X's in this barn, very dim lighted. I don't know if the Satan figure was in this, but if he was, it's a good spot to hide him, because you can barely see anything. And is this when you were like, "Yeah, I can't see a thing. I can't keep watching this movie." Because I remember you.
No, no, no.
Okay,
Yeah, no, that was like early on in the movie, earlier where I
yeah,
couldn't see it, the light
okay,
coming in where I was at.
gotcha.
Um, yeah, and it's not the greatest TV too, but anyway, but yeah, no, but this was a good scene. I thought this was really that made you go, "What the?"
Yeah, when
You
they
know?
pull out a doll and you're like, "What the fuck? A
Yeah,
doll?"
and the doll's eyes open up,
Yes, 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 yes.
and now you're like,
And
"Okay, so there's something here with this," because if it was just a doll they found, they go, "Okay, we've got to figure it." But the eyes open up, now you're like, "Oh, that's so
yeah,
creepy."
is it Chucky?
Yeah,
It's a Chucky movie. Um,
yeah,
but no, it's not Chucky, even though it would maybe please a lot more people if it was. But they take the doll to what, a coroner or something,
yeah,
and
yeah.
and trying to figure out what's inside the body, and the dude's like, "There's nothing inside this body other than this metal orb," and this metal orb, it's just a metal orb. There's nothing inside it, and then they put like a thing to it and realize that it vibrates at a certain frequency or something, and they're
Right.
like, "Well, what the fuck is this?" And then they put two and two together that maybe it's like some mind control thing, right?
Yeah, that made Harker really
Yeah.
freak out, like,
She started seeing images of snakes, and you know,
right.
which I'm assuming she has a fear of snakes, uh, because we see those images constantly when something, you know, makes her snap, almost of like,
Mhm.
oh, like, almost like a brain freeze. Um,
Yeah.
and we see those snakes, so probably afraid of snakes. And then they don't break it open. Do they break it open?
No, he already broke the head open, that's how he got the orb out of the
Yeah,
head,
and yeah, because
and
Carter
he
wanted to
wants
open it.
to open the orb, and he says, "There's no point, there's nothing in there."
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And so he just put it back in the bowl, and, that was that.
yeah. And then do we get a long leg scene? after this?
Um, well, she
Let me
goes
look at
to
my
her
notes.
mom's house, right?
Yes, she goes to her mom's house,
And
and yeah,
this is where you can still tell there's some issues between the two of these. It's not your typical go.
before she goes to her mom's house, I
Yes,
think this is what's in my notes. They plan to go to Carrie Ann Camera, which is the survivor of the camera family murder, who was in the mental hospital.
right.
After because they're
Well,
like,
that's why they went. Well, that's why they went to the house in the first place, where they found the doll. That was their house.
yes, but they decided to go to see her in
House first, right?
yeah, and then they go visit her in the mental institution after they find out that the doll was still there, and to ask her about the doll. Um,
Correct.
but before they go to the mental hospital,
Mhm.
we do get a long leg scene. We get the scene where he's in the hardware store.
Oh, yes,
Was
yes.
this when you found out? Ah, fuck, it's this guy.
No,
No.
no.
Okay. Was it before?
Still, huh?
Was it before, or
Oh,
you still had
at
no
this point,
idea who this
I
was?
had no idea.
That's crazy. Okay.
No
So
idea.
yeah, we get this weird scene of him in the hardware store. He's breathing heavily and he's doing this weird like eye thing of like cuckoo, cuckoo. Same kind of thing he does in the beginning flashback. And I did some research of like, why would he be saying cuckoo? And apparently like the word cuckoo is like has ties to manipulation, like mind manipulation or something like that. I didn't really when I say I researched it, I just looked it up. Why are you saying that? And that's all that popped up. But
Hypnotic.
anyways, anyways, and so I'm like, all right, this is at first I'm like he's just being a weirdo, and then for some reason, you know, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The chick behind the counter at the hardware store knows who he is because it's like, hey, like she screams for her dad, like, hey, this guy's back here again, doing the same thing again, and which kind of insinuates he has some weird thing with females, and then it cuts to him in his car screaming, "Daddy, mommy, unmake me," which some people say that it's him imitating how children are before children die, of what they're shouting before they get killed. But when he says "unmake me," I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. I feel like it is a sense of trauma from his past of like he knows what he's doing is terrible, but he's so like ingrained into this satanic like manipulation, the satanic maybe possession that he is like, dude, I need to get out of this. I can't be in my own head anymore. I need to get, I need to find a way out. But his job's not done, so he can't, he knows he needs to end it, but his job isn't over yet to where he can end it. Um, what did you think of that scene?
Yeah. So when she says, "Hey, Dad," she's not really calling for her dad. That's a tactic used by females when they feel threatened by a male or someone else. Hey, Dad. Oh, and then I better leave her alone. They go away. So she's in a hardware store by herself, just working by herself. Um, a lot of girls will do that. They'll, "Hey, mom, are you on the phone? Oh yeah, hey, this, yeah," and then people will not bother them. I mean, that's just what. So I think that she was doing that
Interesting.
to try and get him to stop being a freak and get out of the store. And when the camera then cuts to the car where he's freaking out, I think he had already killed her, knowing that, oh,
Mm,
daddy, mommy, because there was nobody there for her. There was nobody there to help that girl. She was by herself,
that's a good
and
take.
he figured it out that, oh, you think I'm stupid, So now you're gonna question my intelligence. Now I'm gonna fucking kill you. You know. And I think that's what happened in that scene. Though it doesn't show anything, it doesn't. It leads you to
It's
kind of
true.
open interpretation of that
Another
scene. But
sense
I
of
think,
ambiguity.
yeah, I think he killed her, and that's why he's freaking out in the car because he kind of is now rehashing what she was screaming while he was doing the deed.
That's a good point. That's a good,
That's why I got
good. That's a good take. I'd never even thought about that. Never heard that take too.
yeah.
Only on the Doyledin podcast.
Hey,
But what did you at this point you still don't know who he is. That
still
is
down.
hilarious.
Wasn't putting two and two together.
At
Just
the,
like this guy's a freak.
at this point, I was like, he's got to know. Like he's got to know at
Yeah.
this point that it's that actor. But yeah. So then after that weird scene, and I'm gonna be honest, the Longlegs character takes away from the movie, in my opinion. I even watching the first time, I thought most of his scenes were funny. Maybe it's because I knew who the actor was. Um, then after watching it a second time, I'm like, I want to get back to this murder thing. Like I'm tired of seeing this killer going around, and I want him to be hidden more. I want less scenes of him until he's caught. It's almost like Seven in a way. Like you don't know who he is until he gets caught. Once he gets caught, then you get more scenes with him. And I don't know. Maybe it's just me. It was just a little too much for me. Um, with these scenes. How do you feel?
No, I enjoyed it, man, because it was showing a psychotic side of this person,
Interesting.
but not understanding why. I mean, it was definitely intriguing. It was like, what is this guy's deal? I
Yeah.
mean, why is he doing what he's doing? You know, and what's making him tick? What is it that's drawing him to these girls on their birthdays that are on the 14th, and stuff like that. So I was I I actually wanted to see more of him
Interesting.
because I was like wanting to learn more about him because I can't figure it out unless I know more about him. And the detectives weren't really digging into who he was because they didn't really know who he was. So when you don't have that character too much on the screen and you don't have too much information about him, you're kind of curious, which is good because it builds the anticipation of like what's going to happen, who's going to be, and the why. So at this point, no, I didn't care.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Um, yeah, I just disagree. I don't know. I like keeping things hidden until boom. Like I I don't like in movies where you're following a main character for most of the movie, but then there's little scenes that the main character doesn't know about, but you know about. And they don't there's no real merit for you to know those certain things that the main character doesn't know. And then the main character never finds out about those certain things. And it's just like, well then why show me if like the main character is never going to know about it? You know, I feel like you're just filling space almost. Um, but that's just me, I guess.
Yeah,
but but yeah.
it's okay.
And then we go visit Carrie Ann. That's
Yes.
the next scene. Is then that's when we find out that it's Harker and Carter, and they're like, well, the dude at the psych ward is like, well, you were just here, you just signed it right here. She's like, do you guys not check IDs? He's like, well,
Oh,
like,
that would be a great idea.
yeah, that's actually a great idea. I don't know why we don't do that. I thought that was a funny scene. Um,
Yeah.
but but yeah, and then we see her side of the story, Carrie Ann's side of the story of what she saw. And what's very interesting about this is the whole we're supposed to think it's through her eyes, but then we find out that no, it's through the doll's eyes.
Right.
The story that she is telling us isn't what she saw, it's what the doll saw. And that's when you're like, what the fuck? Like, that doesn't make sense. Um, and then that's when Harker's like, okay, well, then that she kind of puts two and two together that the dolls are what mind control the people to kill them because she knows it's some satanic demon shit. And then she's like, well, if this satanic demon shit is real, then the dolls would somehow have some kind of possession aspect on the family. And then that's when she's like, well, then how someone has to put the dolls in there. It has to be somebody that families trust to put the dolls inside the house. Has to be someone, and then you know, Carter's like, well, maybe it's a kid. Everybody trusts a kid, and all this stuff and things like that. And then that's when Harker goes to visit her mom, and that's when Harker goes to visit her mom, and then reminisces about um I guess my notes just cut off. Do you remember what
Her
happened
child.
with?
Yeah, so she's just kind of, remembering some of her childhood and all that, and
Yeah,
her mom's telling her, well, I haven't cleaned out your room yet. All the stuff's still in there. So it's kind of like, okay.
yeah,
So she goes in there and she's going through her old stuff and she finds some pictures. And one of those pictures is of Longlegs.
Longlegs, Cooper or
So
something. What was
yeah, what was his name?
I have it written here. Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, that's where she finds the pictures of Longlegs, and um,
It's like a name from a Batman episode.
yeah,
Batman
yeah.
criminal.
Some like it
Uh,
was like Dale something or I don't remember, but yeah, and then that's when they get a name. No, they don't get a name. They don't get a name until they arrest him. But that's when they're like, well, this has to be. She puts two and two together that this has to be the person or something. Or am I remembering
right.
that wrong?
No, no, no. Yeah, it's kind of like she knows who he is, and she shows the picture to Carter and the team, and so they track him down, and I think he knows he's because the mom maybe tipped him off, right?
Yeah.
So somebody told him, "Hey, they're coming for you." So he's at a bus stop with his gear, uh, ready to bail out of town. Just gets surrounded by the FBI, and they take him in.
See, Dale Cobble. Dale Cobble.
Gobble, gobble.
But yeah,
Right,
so at first when I watched this movie, I thought he knew that they were gonna come after him. And he kind of wanted to play it off as if like he's gonna skip town, so that they don't suspect that he's got one last trick. And so yeah, at the time because I didn't know the twist, I thought he was already in the know. He's doing some devil voodoo bullshit, and he's already in the know. And then they arrest him. Then that's when we find out Dale Dale Cobble is his name, and he starts going off on some weird fucking tangent and sings happy birthday for 24 minutes which I thought was pretty funny.
yeah.
And at this point you still don't know who he is.
No,
That's funny.
I didn't get it until I think the next scene
When
when
Harker comes in and
Parker goes in to question him.
yes, which is the best scene in the movie in my
Oh, yeah.
opinion.
Yeah. He
Fantastic.
starts off with the high pitched voice and all that, and then he goes to normal, and then I'm like, "Oh, son of a bit! Are you fucking
You
kidding me
got
right now?
me.
This is fucking Nicolas Cage."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, it is. It is Nicolas Cage playing Longlegs. I knew that was the only thing I knew about this movie before going into watching this in the theaters, and I don't know. I think he did great. I thought he was.
Can't dispute it. Can't dispute it.
For those of
This
you
for
who don't
me.
know, my dad here absolutely can't stand Nicolas Cage. Um,
So let's
Nah,
be.
don't dumb it down for the camera.
I'm not a fan. Not
Yeah,
not not a fan. I will say, like Con Air, great movie, right? Family Man, great movie, right? Other than that, I haven't seen anything that's ever impressed me.
hasn't seen
And
Moonstruck. Moonstruck is
right,
fantastic with Cher. Well, there you go. Now you're never gonna watch it. Cher,
never gonna.
Nicolas Cage, who's gonna yeah. And
But
on
yeah,
next
just
episode, we're gonna talk about Moonstruck.
I'm sorry, Nicolas Cage, but some your voice is just like it's one of those things that are just like I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah,
So having this high pitched voice for Longlegs, couldn't tell that was Nicolas Cage. But then once he went back to his own voice, I was like, oh, fucking kidding me right now. But I had enjoyed the character up to this point, so it
really.
was fun.
This is
Longlegs?
when you
Oh yeah.
lost long legs. Like you were just
No, no,
like
no,
I
no, no,
okay.
no. I didn't lose it. It's just fuck. He got me because I didn't know it was Nicolas Cage, but I was still okay because it had been so good up to this point, right?
Yeah,
And even past this point. But but yeah, no, I'm not the biggest fan. And again, subjective, right? It's not for me.
yeah,
Obviously
eh,
a good actor. Some people like him, but he was great in this.
yeah. I agree. And what's so cool about watching this a second time is you because when I first watched it, I didn't understand what the hell he was talking about. Didn't understand what was going on. Still wasn't clued in on the twist. Wasn't clued in on what is going on here. Watching it a second time, his, everything that Longlegs is saying in this scene has so much importance to the movie as a whole. Um, because I mean, I could go play by play of what he's talking about, but he's essentially ta- revealing the twist without revealing the twist. If you know the twist, you know exactly what he is talking about. You know word for word what he is talking about. And that's why this movie's so good. You know, even the second time, there's so much there's so many things you don't pick up on, and that's when you know a movie is good. When you watch it a second time, there's still things that you learn from the movie, still things that you pick up, and notice that you didn't notice on the first time watching it. But but yeah, basically saying you got to go talk to your mom. You need to have a talk with your mom. He makes a comment that I thought was really interesting to think about. Was you joined the police force when you were 20, and we laughed about it. Well, I was the one who laughed about it. You know, she didn't laugh about it, and that's when you're like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is she? You know, at this point maybe you're thinking, okay, it's the dolls. Maybe he's talking about the dolls in a way. But then once you know that twist, because after her visit with Longlegs, she goes to visit her mom. Goes to her mom, and with one of the agents that we see in the beginning, which
Well,
I
hold on though.
what
What happened?
well I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna get to it. Um, Price is Right is on the screen in the mom's house, which instantly reminded me of my grandma. Um, and that's when the agent gets shot, and it's revealed the mom is the accomplice with Longlegs. And because Longlegs, while Harker's having the conversation with Longlegs in the police station, what is very interesting is he is saying everything that the mom says once it's revealed it's the mom. Everything, and it's word for word. The way the mom explains how she was involved is are the same words that he's saying to Harker in the police station of how she would go into the houses, how she would do all this nefarious things. And I thought that was very interesting on a second watch. I'm like, oh my God, like this is it. And then after he basically says, that's all you need to know. That's all I got. Talk to your mom. Slams his face into the table over and over and over, basically kills himself. But before he does that, he lets off a little Hail Satan and blam, does the deed. Uh, how did this make you feel? Were you shocked? Were you
Yeah, I didn't think, you know, after showing so much of him, which is why, I didn't mind him being there so much, and I wanted to learn more about him, but I was surprised that then he wasn't gonna be the main, culprit at the end because now he's just off himself. And it was kinda like, "Okay, so this is gonna be really interesting." Now it's between her and her mom
yes?
because you knew at that point, "Oh, shit." But is her mom the brains behind this, or is her mom, something different, or, what's going on here? So, it was definitely a holy shit moment, and, you know
So during the scene in the police station, did you pick up that it was the mom, or
uh,
were you still
yeah,
not?
that she's involved.
Okay,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
okay,
I had already got that feeling, because the whole vibe, and then why she had the picture in her room still,
gotcha.
it's kinda, okay, so she's involved in this somehow. I wasn't sure how, but, she's involved somehow.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. So the mom shoots the agent. Harker inside the mom's house goes back outside. The mom has a shotgun to the doll of Harker when she was a kid and shoots the doll. That causes Harker to regain all those memories that the doll, I guess, kept in that ball, because that's what we find out is that this fucking dumb ball has like can alter your memories and alter your fucking I whatever. But it's based off of something. It's called the golden. It's in some kind of like folklore thing. I was doing a little bit of research, and it's called the let me get it. Let me get it. I got it right here. The Golden Bow. Bough. The Golden Bow. And
Go
it's
back.
bow, sorry. Very illiterate here. And it has in folklore it is tied to influencing emotions and influencing different thoughts. So that's kind of what Oz is touching up on. Uh,
So if we can go back then to where earlier she guessed those numbers and all that psychic stuff.
yes.
Maybe say, "Well, we didn't touch on the psychic stuff ever again." Well, once that once her mom put a hole in the doll's head and all that stuff came out of her, like, see the black smoke that came out of her own head, I think
Yeah.
that was that stuff that was leading her on that path to discover stuff.
Ooh. So you think the devil was having some influence on what she was thinking and those psychic abilities?
Yes, because as we learned, right, to spare her soul, her mom, that's how she got involved, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I think that even though he spared her at the bequest of Longlegs, that it was still following her around, hence when she was at her house and she saw out the window, and or at the library and she saw out the window. Um,
Yeah.
it was still following her around and directing her in certain ways, though not using her as a vessel to commit the crimes like it did her mother, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The only question I had when we learned about all this, the twist of the mom being involved and Longlegs being, was the one who kind of manipulated her into being his accomplice. What the fuck was Longlegs doing before? Was this like his first victim? Was he doing other murders before? Because we only find out that Longlegs is doing this stuff at the start of the partnership between him and her mom.
Well, no, because that's again the scene outside the house where they're telling her about the case, and there's at least 10 that they know of over the last, what, 30 years. So for, you know, how many years he's been doing this?
But then at that point, you think he was the one that was going house to house giving the dolls? Or before he met the mom?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, as far as how the dolls got in the house, you know, I mean, at this point, she's in her late 30s, I would say.
Harker? I would
Yeah,
assume, yeah. Because she
Parker. Yeah.
joined the force when she was 20, is what we
So
find out.
before that point, I see what you're saying. Before a point where she was, you know, reprieved from being killed by him. What was he doing? How did he do it? I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
he was, you know, spurned
researching.
from the church or something.
Yeah, researching
So,
the the doll bullshit or whatever. Um,
yeah,
but another thing I want to touch up on is that Longlegs isn't really Longlegs. He becomes the Mister downstairs that we keep hearing about,
right,
and it's shown that the mom is actually Longlegs because she's the one leaving the letters. She's the one, you know, bringing the dolls into the house, and it's just Mister because it's shown to us when the doll gets shot by the mom. We get the twist revealed to us. Everything gets explained to us. Harker wakes up in a bed. Turns out it's where Longlegs because we see glimpses of Longlegs making these dolls, messing with the dolls, but we don't know where it's at until this scene
right,
where she wakes up and she's in the same room as where Longlegs would make the dolls, goes upstairs, and it gets revealed to us, oh shit, this is in the mom's house. This
right.
whole time,
So
Longlegs was living um, downstairs in the mom's house, making these dolls, and yeah, I thought brilliant, brilliant writing of how it just flips the script of no, this guy is not actually Longlegs. This is the Mister downstairs, and you could say that's not how it's interpreted because he mentions Mister downstairs, meaning of course Satan because hell is underground, and but that's just how I interpreted it.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely agree with you on that. I think that she was making the dolls. That was a way to you know get into these homes, pretending that they won a prize and let their guard down and get into their house and all that. And was she really? Because it showed some scenes where that she would do what she had to do and sit there and watch as it unfolded. The spirit, the evil spirit came out of the doll and started executing, or would go inside the father, I guess, and make him execute his family, and then uh, I think that she would execute the father then.
Yeah. Oh, I see
But
what you're saying. Yeah, that's why there was blood
you
on
know,
her hands and
yeah,
wasn't really a
and
suicide.
possibly,
Yeah.
again, I think it's open to interpretation, right? So, but it goes back to then saying, well, nobody was inside the house because there's no trace of anybody in the house. Well, then if she's sitting there watching it all, how is there no trace of her?
It's true. Well, this is the 90s.
Yeah.
I don't.
So that was kind of
Yeah.
a loose end for me. And there's no trace of the doll. You know, was the doll left behind?
I hated this doll shit. I'm gonna be honest. I did not like it, and I'm not the only one. Uh, I think a lot from what I've heard from other people, that's like they like the movie up until it's some satanic doll bullshit, and I have to agree. I think it is a very kind of like, what are we doing? Like, I like, why does it got to be a doll? I understand it's creepy. It's the doll is made to look like the child that they're targeting,
Right.
because it's always on child's birthday. Um, I get that aspect, but it's just kind of like, so it's just a fucking orb. It's just um,
It's the
maybe that's
bow.
why I
It's the
haven't watched the movie Phantasm, uh but yeah, it's just like, just a fucking orb that's doing all this shit. Like, fuck,
yeah.
does that make sense? But
Yeah. I mean, but it's a horror movie, right? I mean, you
it's
gotta
true.
suspend your belief and disbelief, right? But I think at this point,
You, you either accept it or not.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
yeah,
you've got this guy who's as goofy as he is and just killed himself by smashing his face into a table. I mean,
it's
you
true.
know, it's and again, this is why we the reason we're watching this is because I'm not a huge horror movie fan, right? And this is part of that reason is because you get into these some unbelievable kind of I can't even wrap my head around that to make it even plausible. But here I am watching this movie, and it's like, okay, all right, I get what they're doing, I get it,
Yeah.
and this is this evil satanic spirit, and it's being moved around inside these dolls, and that's the vehicle for um doing the job. So where we at right now with
Well, do you think it is some satanic bullshit, or because, like, well, I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. When I think what would have made this movie better was if it left it ambiguous. If maybe it wasn't the satanic bullshit. Maybe, it wasn't these certain things, Um, just to kind of like tap into that true crime. Like, give a little true crime, be like, there's a reason why it's unexplained, because it is satanic bullshit. But say this satanic, was it really satanic shit? Or was it actually they just, a dad went crazy? Um, you know, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
no, I agree. In fact, one of the things I did think about real quick, not too long, was well, it didn't have to be the doll to do it, and it could have been just the mom all
Yeah,
along.
yeah,
Just going in there and just fucking killing people,
yeah.
and she knew about it as a kid, and that's kind of why she freaked out when she found out the daughter when she went to visit Carter's home and she saw the daughter for the first time, knowing that hey, you're fucked, you know,
Yeah.
uh, So but no, I mean it is what it is. So here we are, and we've got possessed dolls, and uh, what scene are we at next?
Well, this is when uh Lee wakes up,
Yeah,
Harker, and wakes up to a phone ringing, a black phone,
that's right.
and uh answers it, and it's some like demonic voice saying, you're too late. You're too late. You're late to
To
the
the
little
party.
girl's birthday party." And so then she takes, because the car that the mom takes was the same car that Harker and the other agent lady went in. And so then Harker is driving the car from Longlegs.
Hmm.
And you kind of get a similar scene of when Longlegs was yelling in the car with Harker, where she's yelling in the car because, dude, she just figured out that her mom all these years is the number one, or not number one suspect, but is the killer,
Right.
and is the
He's
reason
long leg.
behind these killings.
Yeah.
And she just lets out a scream. I thought was great. And another cool little shot was uh, it was an outside of the car looking in of her still screaming, and you could still kind of hear her screaming, but you still can't.
Right. Right.
Um, and
Oh, she's so good. She was just so good.
yeah, yeah, just to further um, interpret that, you know, it's she feels so like alone, so lonely. It just shows that within that shot,
Yeah.
and gets to the house. Carter opens the door. Ah, you made it. Blah 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 blah. And then you're like, oh, maybe she's there just in time. Nope. Right when he closes the door, he has this look, and that's
Oh
when
yeah, he slams that door shut, and I was like, "Oh shit."
that's when you get from what I saw, when I noticed the last uh, sight of the demon, the Satan character. I don't know why I keep doing air quotes, but um,
Every episode.
every episode, call me Doctor Evil. Um,
Let's just rename the show to Air Quote Show.
there you go. um, and that's when I picked up of like, are we like, is this devil character? Is this demon? Is Satan? Is this like us because it was a reflection when the door closed, and it was like we're looking through the eyes of the Satan uh, figure, and that's when you get the reflection of this character that we've been seeing in the background of all different shots. And I was like, are we this guy? What's going on? Yeah,
No, that's the character. That's the Satan. That's everywhere and possessing these people.
I know, but
It's
I
like,
feel like because most of these shots in the movie are very Wes Anderson esque, very
mm,
shots not moving, you just watch it, and it kind of is like in those moments I'm like, are we Satan just watching, our madness unfold? Um, I don't know. That's
yeah,
just a little food for thought that I had.
yeah.
But we get into the birthday, and oh man, this scene is also really good. Um, we have one of my favorite lines. I think everybody's favorite line is like, "Oh, yeah, we're gonna go to the kitchen," and the mom's like, "Yeah, uh, we'll be
We'll
right
be right
back,"
back.
and Carter's like, "Oh no, I'll be right back. You'll still be in the kitchen."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oof, oof,"
'Cause at this
and
point, the mom is sitting there because when um what's her
yes,
name, Harker comes in, the mom's sitting there, and she kind of tells her, "Hey, mom's already dead. Girl's next."
yeah,
And it's like they don't even hear her.
yeah.
And so she's kind of freaking out, and she's you know asking her mom, "Why are you doing this?" And
But the mom also has this high pitched voice in this scene.
yep.
Reminded me of like Evil Dead, the Deadites in Evil Dead.
Again, I think that's the whole evil
Demon.
spirit voice. That's what who we thought Longlegs his voice was.
Yeah,
And
that's the
so
devil talking through him.
yeah, yeah. Of
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. And so then
course, there's a little doll on the couch right next to the girl. She's
looks
kind of
like the
hugging on
girl.
her.
Yeah, hugging
Looks
on
like
her. Already uh manipulated
hmm
through the spirit. And then we hear um Carter killing the mom in the kitchen.
Yep. Hear that knife going in and
Yeah.
out.
And then Carter comes back. Harker's like, better stop. Better stop. All right, I'm gonna shoot you. Blam, blam. What, three shots? Two shots? Um,
It was,
yeah. And kills the dad right in front of the daughter. The mom gets pissed, pulls out this ritualistic dagger. It wasn't like, it was curved, kind of looked like resembled a snake, which I thought was very interesting considering, we keep seeing these weird images of snakes and coming at the Harker, and then Harker shoots her mom in the head, third shot. And Harker has a revolver, a somewhat revolver, or I'm guessing it's a six shooter. Then after all that, Harker's like, kind of just like distraught. A little pause for a moment, and then points the gun at the doll.
Well, she gets the girl. Come with me. Let's go.
Yeah,
The girl seems unfazed by this. She's just kind of like,
yeah, because she's still manipulated by that spirit.
mm-hmm.
And Harker gets the gun, points it at the doll, and click, click, click. Like there's no rounds in the gun.
Yep.
And then we get a scene of Longlegs laughing, singing "Happy Birthday." He says, "Hail Satan" one more time, and blows a kiss to the camera. And we get T-Rex back at it again with "Get It On," and that's where the movie ends.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
What
That
did
last
you?
scene was pretty intense.
Yeah, absolutely intense. What did
Pretty
what did you
intense.
think of the movie? Or
So I thought it was good.
not
I
the
thought
movie,
the
the
last
ending.
scene, right. Yeah. So I thought the last scene. Okay, if you're gonna make a second one, I get it. You don't want to shoot the doll, running out of bullets, and the doll, okay, still possessed, is gonna remain intact. Okay, get it. Otherwise, if you're not gonna make a second one, I was thinking before the dad and the mommy went into the kitchen, why isn't she putting a bullet in the doll's head? That's the first thing I would have done.
Because maybe she's already under the manipulation of the doll. Maybe the doll, because it's in the house. I don't know. Because
Right, but you
that's
kill the doll and you kill just like when the mom killed the doll of Harker, took the spirit out, took all the shit out of Harker.
hmm
So I was thinking the first thing you should do is put a bullet in the fucking doll's head, be done with it, hopefully.
yeah,
Or at least shoot the dad before he brings him to the kitchen. You know what's going to happen. Why not stop it?
yeah. I felt the same way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I kind of let that go and like, oh shit, something more is going to happen here. Something bigger is going to happen.
yeah.
And of course, it was the standoff between her and her mom, which was real quick. Um, and
I
yeah, that
just
was it. It was kind of a flat finish. It was a good scene until
the end.
you know the reality just went away,
Yep, I agree.
and you're kind of like, why didn't you do? I'm now I'm too focused on why you didn't do certain things instead of being focused what's actually happening. Because now I'm questioning like, what are you doing? Like, um, and it was harder to enjoy that part of it. But overall, you know what? You say it's a horror movie. I didn't see it as a horror movie, but okay. Horror
Interesting.
movies, I'm not a huge fan of. But this was actually an enjoyable movie overall.
Okay, okay. Uh, ye, I did not like the demon possession stuff. I thought the movie was great until it turned supernatural. I
Yeah,
That's my opinion from the first time watching it. Second time watching it, I can, prepare myself, okay, demon possession shit. Um,
yeah,
like you said, I'm just like this is it. This is what's going on. Like, all right, demons, I guess. And I feel like that ending is just kind of tossed under the rug of like, oh, it's just Satan. It's just Satan. Satan doing his Satan stuff. Just,
yeah.
devil. It's the devil. Um, and that's just kind of like I'm just like I kind of want more than like that's it's just the devil. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, yeah. Uh, I mean, I'm trying to think of other horror movies that because given what uh your take is on horror movies, I don't know if you want to explain, uh, why you
Yeah, I
don't care
mean,
for horror movies.
Yeah, just I mean, for me, horror movies, and again, I don't necessarily see this one as a horror movie, but some of the aspects of this is partially why I don't really watch horror movies, just because like, he's smashing his face on the table and blood is splattering 6 feet across the room, which is so far removed from the reality of the situation. It's just kind of overboard.
What about Quentin
Uh,
Tarantino movies?
yeah, not too
Really?
crazy.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Okay,
I mean,
interesting.
Reservoir Dogs is good, but again, some scenes you're kind of like, "Oh, Jesus Christ, I was
Yeah.
really having in until this point, and it's just like just overkill. But I get
Okay.
that there's an audience for it. Just for me, is again, I'm not saying it's wrong, not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for me, it's just not what pulls me into a movie, right?
Yeah, so we will
Uh,
never talk about Terrifier on the channel. As much as I would love to, I
sounds awesome.
I don't think
Um,
he would like Terrifier. Um, I
but
honestly would be down to show you Evil Dead, but again, I think that's in that realm of just it's just like, come on, that's not, this is ridiculous. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, as far as other horror movies I want to show you, I think the next one, if you're down with it, is called Late Night with the Devil. And I know it's on this devil thing, but it is this talk show, kind of like I don't remember what talk show was popular during this time. It's like a 70s talk show, and the whole point is to show a demon possession live on camera in front of a live audience, and that's the plot of it.
mm.
And I don't know, I think that's a very good movie. Uh, whether or not we'll talk about it, that's you know up
Yeah. I
to
mean, I
you.
don't mind doing that in the future.
But
Yeah,
I mean, if any of you who have made it this far into the video have recommendations, given what my dad has said, what he doesn't like about horror movies, maybe there's a movie out there that would change his mind, or maybe be like, this is a good one. Yeah, there's a lot of blood, but like, this is a good one. Um,
and it's a lot of blood. It's so unrealistic
yeah,
how it
yeah, yeah,
happens.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
some of the deaths in there are just like, well, that didn't even make sense. Like, why did you do that? Like, maybe it's me overthinking it. Maybe that's just because I'm so used to a lot of the true crime stuff. I'm more of a suspense, thriller, action kind of a person. So when it comes to a lot of those movies are, a little more okay. This guy got what he deserved, and there's a reason for it, not just I'm going to slaughter this person so we can have more blood. It's like okay,
yeah,
you know, less is more for me.
yeah. Interesting.
So,
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, we'll be back. I mean, are we gonna we got to do a review of Raw, especially everything that's happened
by the
this
time
week.
this video's out, that video will be up. Um, for reviewing Raw, because we're right. We're
When are we doing? When are we going to record it tomorrow?
No, right after this, right after.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if I can, but okay,
Oh, okay. Well,
we'll figure it out.
I'll edit that out. Um, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about Raw this week. The week of Friday the 13th. Um, hoping for an HHN announcement. We'll see. But this was our Friday the 13th episode. Um,
Yeah.
just wanted to talk about or show my dad a horror movie that I thought he would like, even though he doesn't claim it to be horror.
Well,
Um,
you nailed it. It was good.
it was a movie that you did like, and I'm glad you did because as I was watching it for a second time, I was like, I don't know if he's gonna like this movie. I don't know if he's gonna like this whole demon possession bullshit. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I tell you, the actors say that. I mean, honestly, the actors, like I said, Blair Underwood's awesome. I've seen him in a few things, and he's always been solid.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
and then, um, Maika Monroe is who played Harker. She was brilliant.
Yeah,
So
I've never
I
seen
think
any of
that,
these actors in anything other than Nicolas Cage. Um,
yeah.
but
Well, even he was good. I gotta tell you.
there it is.
That's
Not
that.
only did I show him a horror movie that he liked, I showed him a Nicolas Cage movie that he liked, and
There
a
you go.
role that he liked Nicolas Cage in.
Tremendous.
This is amazing.
Maybe because he ended up dying in it. I don't know.
It's also because he's barely in the movie. I mean, I can show you a movie called Willy's Wonderland. He doesn't have any lines in that movie.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in
Sounds
it.
delightful.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any lines.
That's
Uh,
funny.
but yeah, and yeah, I mean, I would
I'll give it a
love to
7 out of
7 out of 10. Oh, you're putting a number on it. Okay,
10. Yeah.
I don't like to put a number on it. It was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it's a good movie. It's a fun watch,
Yeah.
especially showing people who haven't watched it or don't have any knowledge about it. Um, yeah, I no, I mean just minor complaints, but it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, horror movies are just live action cartoons.
That's it.
but yeah, you have anything else to add or?
No, no, I can't wait to get back to talking about wrestling.
Yeah. Back to the regular scheduled program. Um, but yeah, this is it. Have a good day. Have a good night. Whatever your time zone may be, don't forget to stay Doyled in.